Okay, so campaigners are calling for the former chief executive of LGBT charity Stonewall to be stripped of her peerage following the bombshell release of the cast review. More than 12,000 people now have signed a petition demanding Baroness Ruth Hunt of Bethnal Green is expelled from the House of Lords for her, quote, deeply damaging conduct in promoting puberty blockers. The petition was launched on Saturday and it says Stonewall's irresponsible, deceitful and self-interested behaviour has caused untold havoc. We believe his chief executive at the time, Ruth Hunt, should take responsibility. Just as a little reminder for everybody, the cast review published last week concluded that vulnerable young children confused about their gender were given harmful puberty blockers based on weak evidence built on shaky foundations. But this is what Baroness Hunt said previously about giving kids puberty blockers.
What happens is they then go to secondary school, and Michael, who's been presenting as Sarah for all of their primary schools, suddenly goes into secondary school. And in secondary school, it becomes much harder. So the controversial decision is, do you let Sarah take a puberty blocker pre-puberty? And the medical view is yes, you do. So in fact, it's pretty safe.
Oh, it's outrageous, that, isn't it? Baroness Hunt told the Times newspaper over the weekend that she trusted the experts, something she regretted. But what do you think? Following the cast report, should the former chief exec of Stonewall, Baroness Hunt, lose her peerage? GBnews.com/your say is where you can go to have your say, or tweet me at GBNews, and while you're there, vote in our poll. But first, to do battle on this, I'm joined now by author Simon Edge. So the man who first launched this petition and founder and CEO of SEE Change, See Change Happen, I think I should say. Charity. Joanne Lockwood, apologies. Right, OK, Simon, I'll start with you. This report, then. Do you actually seriously think now that the Baroness should lose her peerage?
Yeah, well, I launched this petition on Saturday, and I was thinking of, cast your mind back, Patrick, to Fred Goodwin. Do you remember Fred Goodwin? Sir Fred Goodwin, in the noughties, was the boss of the world's biggest bank, and he got a knighthood for it. And then the bank crashed, RBS, and it nearly tanked the economy, and his knighthood was taken away. Paula Venables, earlier this year, who ran the post office, got the CBE, and then it turned out that she had been persecuting postmasters, knowing that they hadn't done anything, and her CBE was removed. Both of those people were given honours because of the job that they had been doing. Ruth Hunt was given a much bigger honour. She is now, at the age of 39, she was elevated to the House of Lords, which makes her a legislator for life. And she got the job entirely because she ran Stonewall. She'd worked there for 14 years, barely had any other job. And now that we know, that clip was brilliant that you played, because what she said at the Oxford Union in May 2019, puberty blockers are safe, we now know not to be true. The reverse was true.
Let's part that, because I'll come back to you. Joanne, I mean, it wasn't just true. It wasn't just untrue, what she said there. It was dangerous, right? And, it's all very well and good saying, I believe the experts. I mean, how hard did she look? The cast review spoke to the experts, looked at it, and it was pretty clear. I mean, some would say, not me, but some would say that individual actually has a serious case to answer.
I think you're looking at a different cast review to the one I've seen. Cast review I've seen is not saying these are dangerous. They're saying that they're not proven. I think we've been prescribing puberty blockers safely for many, many years, but up to 40 years, many countries in the world have been doing that as well.
No, sorry, and I will let you answer this. Why don't they release, then, the evidence of what's happened to the some 9,000 people who went through the puberty blockers from a variety of different NHS trusts that they are trying to hide? I mean, you can't whitewash this cast review, surely.
It's very, very easy to have a biased perspective on this incident. Many people read this review and they see many different stories that result on it. The cast review does not recommend that all treatment of transgender young people and children ceases completely. What they recommend is more evidence needs to be gathered. More studies need to take place. Say again?
She said it was safe. She said the medical expert.
Puberty blockers are still being prescribed. Puberty blockers are still being prescribed on licence to young children who have precocious puberty. That is not ceasing. What is ceasing is being using them as treatment for gender dysphoria or gender incongruence, but they're still being prescribed to young children today for precocious puberty. If they were dangerous,
Simon, where was Stonewall on that?
Let me finish. If they were dangerous, why are they still being prescribed for certain cases for young children?
No, I'll just tell you, that's a ridiculous thing to say, because what this is about was the fact that they were being given out potentially like candy in the Wild West. You've said there, openly said there, that they were being given to people with neurodiverse problems, okay? That was not being...
I didn't say neurodiverse. You said neurodiverse.
Simon, right, okay, look, stop it, all right? Simon, where are you on this? I mean, this idea now that this woman could still have a peerage surely is a bit ridiculous.
Well, I mean, let's get back to, I mean, Cass specifically said there is, the evidence is weak for all of the treatments that are being handed out, that are being given to young children, distressed young people. And I think, the point that this is not particularly a punishment for Ruth Hunt. It is more that the reward she was given is completely inappropriate, considering the havoc that she has caused. And for me, the killer thing was that there was a report in the Times on Saturday, which it wasn't a revelation, it was known already, but it gave a lot of attention to the fact that a campaigning group called Transgender Trend put some materials into schools where there was a massive rise in particularly young girls presenting as saying that they were trans, they were in the wrong body. And Transgender Trend said that evidence is very weak that puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones work, and there's very little evidence about the side effects. We just don't know what we're giving these people. And furthermore, that if you socially transition kids, that's to say you treat them as the opposite sex, they will then go into medical pathways which will be dangerous for them. This is exactly what Cass has said, but Ruth Hunt, the head of Stonewall, issued statements saying these materials should be shredded.
Right, and that's the point, right? And these are the points. Joanne, you're confronted by that. How on earth can this person still remain in office and not have any kind of apology really dished out there, just to say, I believe the experts, passing the buck? There was absolute certainty in what she was saying, and people's lives will have been ruined.
Well, even as we've just heard, there is still uncertainty. There's no categorical evidence that these treatment paths are dangerous. There is evidence that we need to look further. We need to set out the guidelines as per Cass to do proper studies, do tests, examine the evidence.
Do what should have been done before it was being given to kids, Joanne, no? Do what should have been done.
I am also horrified that the NHS were not acting in a proper way. I think we all have concerns that these studies should have been in place, the trials should have been carried out, and I was probably acting in good faith, believing that medical professionals were doing this in good faith. Now the Cass reports come out, calling out the question, let's push this forward as per the Cass review to do proper studies, trials, under license, with medical supervision, support families, aid people who feel that gender transition wasn't right for them through detransition pathways. Let's do all of that and recommendations.
And the pressure that Stonewall put on employers, the pressure that Stonewall put on wider society
Stonewall,
as well.
like many advocacy charities and advocacy organisations, are giving a perspective to allow people, gay, bi, trans, lesbian, whatever they may be, to support them and create environments where they can work and live in peace.
And how were they towards people who disagreed with them, Joanne? Were they all right? Were they nice? They just accepted that, didn't they? And they moved on.
Well, you can look at my Twitter feed. You can look at the comments that will be on my Twitter feed after tonight. I don't get nice comments from people. People bombard me with hate. So I don't think trans people are any more hateful than the other side. We live in a world with divisive politics, left versus right. We're always on the edges. We're not trying to have centrist conversations. We need to bring this into the middle ground, have sensible conversations, not using bias or negative rhetoric.
This is a try. I'm sorry, Joanne. Look, you seem lovely, but I've been sick all week and last week. People, I'm not including yourself in this, but people who did make this discussion incredibly toxic and cancel people and ruin people's lives. Trying to now lecture people on how toxic the situation came and call for calm. They were not calling for calm at the time. But look, both of you, thank you very, very much. We will talk again. Author Simon Edge there, the man who launched this petition, and the founder and CEO of See Change Happen charity, Joanne Lockwood. Look, we did approach Baroness Hunt for comment, and she failed to get back to us. So what do you think? Should Baroness Hunt lose her peerage? 97% of you think that she should lose her peerage. 3% of you say that she shouldn't.